5 tips in 5 minutes to help you improve your drone footage. Hey, my name's Sloan, and I create content here on YouTube for solo creators, people like me who are out there creating largely by themselves, whether it's for commercial projects or YouTube. So I do reviews of equipment that makes the process easier, and I do tips and tutorials on how to use that equipment so that you can tell better stories. Today I'm starting something new on this channel called the Friday 5. I want to give you 5 tips in 5 minutes so that you can improve your videography or your photography. Today we're going to talk about 5 ways you can improve your drone videography. Tip number 1 is don't record everything when you're flying. Don't hit record as soon as you take off and just record the entire flight, because you're going to end up with a lot of footage that is totally unusable as you move around and get the drone lined up for shots. What you want to do is push record once you have lined up the drone for the shot that you want, so that you only capture the footage that you really want. With something like the Skydio 2, that means you have to change it to manual record. With something like the Mavic series or DJI drones, that means you fly the drone to where you want, maybe even practice the shot once or twice, and then record it. Because in the end, when you're editing the footage, you're only really going to want to use the very best, the very smoothest parts of that footage anyway. Tip number 2 is keep your motion smooth throughout the shot. Nothing ruins great drone footage more than a jerky motion or jerky movement in or during, at the beginning, at the end of a shot. And so you want to keep your motion really smooth, and this is especially true when you're trying to provide something called the parallax effect, which is where you have the background and the foreground are moving, but your subject is relatively still in the center. I can't tell you the number of times I've had to redo a shot because as I was trying to get that great, sweet, amazing parallax shot, I had a jerk because I didn't control the gimbal well enough, or I didn't control the drone well enough. So that will save you a lot of time in the editing side if you keep your motion really smooth in the shot when you're capturing it. Tip number 3 is use the perspective that the drone provides to your advantage. And what I mean by that is this: you can use a drone to frame up your subject with the background that you want, and also you can exclude items that you don't want. So for example, here I'm walking in a place that is incredibly beautiful and incredibly cinematic, but if I flip to the other side, you'll see that basically I'm walking next to railroad tracks and a road that isn't really as beautiful and as cinematic. So by using the drone's perspective, by using the drone's camera to put my subject and the background that I wanted behind my subject, then it gave me a much better perspective that gave me a much better shot. And that brings me to tip number 4. You always want to have something in the shot, especially because drones can go high and they can provide a very big perspective of the world around you. But if you don't have something in that shot that gives people an idea of the scale or the size, the perspective of the area that you're in that establishing shot, then it will be lost on them. So one tip is to always have people in your shot somewhere, whether that's to begin with, very close to those people and then pull back to show the entire area, especially if you're in the outdoors like I am in a lot, or pull out and have a wide perspective and then zoom down in to show where the people are in that particular area. That will really help improve your drone footage. One thing drones are great at is giving us really smooth, really cinematic footage, because they're usually flying in the air and they have this nice little 3-axis gimbal. But you can use that to your advantage in a totally different way, and that is leave the drone folded up, turn it on, and record with it like this. There are companies that make actual holders for this, but if you hold the drone like this and walk forward without moving the drone up and down too much like this, you will get really smooth, very good looking shots by using the drone. And so if you don't have a gimbal but you do have a drone and you want to get really smooth shots, then just use your drone like you would a camera on a gimbal. Now I put together a playlist right here of other ways that you can improve your drone footage, editing, different ways you can capture great shots. So click or tap right there. I'll see you in one of those videos. And if you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments below or reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter. Cheers.